If you have blood pressure problems, you are going to be pretty happy you watched this video. Most seniors over 60 are told the same thing. Blood pressure rises, arteries stiffen, and no one can clearly explain why. In fact, nearly 90% of blood pressure cases are labeled as essential, which simply means the cause is unknown. That uncertainty has been very convenient for companies that sell blood pressure medications, making them the most prescribed drugs in the world. But there is almost always more beneath the surface. In today's episode of the Senior Health Podcast, Japan's oldest physician is revealing the #1 mineral deficiency driving high blood pressure in seniors, and more importantly, how this imbalance can be corrected naturally. He's sitting right here with me. And doctor, before we begin, what should everyone expect from this conversation? Today's conversation is meant to give seniors clarity. John, we will break down why pressure regulation becomes more fragile with age, why many well-intended strategies never fully resolve the issue, and how the body actually maintains balance beneath the surface. We will uncover the single mineral most often overlooked that influences vascular calm and provide the everyday foods that help restore the high pressure. I've been reflecting on this because in our previous episodes, we've discussed several powerful ways seniors can influence blood pressure. We talked about how specific breathing techniques reverse high blood pressure, how certain drinks help relax blood vessels, and how simple movements improve circulation, especially in the legs. Many seniors tried these approaches and felt real, sometimes immediate relief. And yet, John, many listeners wrote to us with the same question. If breathing helps, if drinks help, and if movement helps, why do my numbers still feel unstable? And that question tells us something important. It tells us the body is responding, but something essential is still missing. Before we go any further, I want everyone listening to pause and check in with themselves. If you've tried calming your breath, changing what you drink, or moving more, and your readings still feel unpredictable, type 1 in the comments. And if this is your first time hearing us talk about blood pressure, don't worry, you can start right here. And we've linked the earlier episodes in the description, so you can watch those afterwards. Amazing, doctor. Now, let's begin. What is the one mineral deficiency driving high blood pressure in seniors, and how do we fix it? Before we answer that question, John, we need to slow down just a little. Many seniors think blood pressure is just a pair of numbers to chase, but it is really a reflection of balance inside the body. When that balance shifts, the numbers follow, often in confusing ways. That already reframes it for me because so many seniors feel like they are doing the right things and still getting mixed signals. I hear that frustration constantly, especially after they try multiple approaches without lasting stability. Yes, and that confusion is understandable. Blood pressure is not only about how hard their heart pumps, but about how much resistance the blood meets along the way. If the vessels are tense, irritated, or stiff, pressure rises even when seniors are careful and disciplined. That explains why someone can breathe better, drink the right things, move more, and still see readings jump around. Exactly. Lowering numbers without understanding resistance is like turning down the volume while the noise source stays the same. For years, seniors were taught to focus almost entirely on restriction, especially sodium, without learning what the body actually needs to relax. Over time, that creates imbalance rather than resolution. That really resonates because so many seniors feel they are always cutting things out, but never adding the right support back in. The key here is that the body regulates pressure. It is not controlled from the outside. When seniors remove too much without replenishing what keeps vessels calm, the system becomes more sensitive and reactive. This is why advice that sounds logical on paper often fails in real life. That helps explain why the effort feels so exhausting for many seniors, and this is where the story becomes clearer. Once we understand pressure as a tension and signaling rather than simple force, we can see why stability slips after 60. There is an internal signal the body is waiting for before it can truly let go and settle. That makes me lean in because it sounds like everything we've discussed so far has been pointing towards something deeper. What is that internal signal the body is waiting for, and how does it connect to the tension inside the blood vessels? Start by picturing blood vessels less like rigid pipes and more like living muscles. They tighten and release based on signals coming from the nervous system, chemistry in the blood, and the availability of key internal switches. When those signals are off, the vessels stay tense longer than they should, and pressure quietly climbs. That image makes it much easier to understand why the numbers feel unpredictable. It also explains why effort alone does not always translate into calm readings. Yes, and those signals become more sensitive after 60. Stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol stay elevated longer. Refined foods quietly drain minerals, and the kidneys recycle those minerals more slowly with age. Even seniors who eat carefully can miss what the vessels need to fully relax, so the pressure is rising, not because the heart is failing, but because resistance is building in the system. That's right. Breathing techniques help calm the nervous system. Supportive drinks improve the chemistry, snorts, and movement restores flow, especially in the lower body. But without the right internal switch, those benefits tend to fade instead of settling in. That explains why seniors feel short relief followed by the same fluctuations again. And this is where the body is patiently waiting. John, it is listening for a specific signal that tells the vessels it is safe to soften and let go. Without that signal, tension becomes the default state. That helps connect so many confusing experiences seniors describe. Once you see this pattern, everything changes. The hidden disruptors stop feeling random, and the frustration begins to make sense. What matters next is identifying the missing signal that allows all those other efforts to finally hold. That leads us to the core question seniors need answered. What is the number one mineral signal the body depends on to stabilize blood pressure? And why do so many lose it without ever being told? Let's make this very clear, John. The signal the body is waiting for is potassium. Potassium is the mineral that tells blood vessels when to soften and release tension instead of staying clenched. When potassium runs low, the nervous system stays slightly activated and pressure quietly rises, even at rest. That's so eye-opening because potassium is rarely discussed in blood pressure conversations. Most seniors are told what to cut back on, but almost never shown how to restore what the body needs. And the reassuring part is that rebuilding potassium does not require extreme measures or complicated supplements. It begins with familiar foods that seniors can actually enjoy and sustain. Yes, and I want everyone listening to stay with us. We will dive into the foods that restore potassium in just a minute. But first, it's important to understand why this mineral has such a powerful effect. That snort's reassurance matters because many seniors worry this will be complicated or extreme. It's not. Potassium works directly with, and does this, the autonomic nervous system, the system that balances calm and stress. It helps lower excess adrenaline, supports the delicate inner lining of the arteries, and allows blood vessels to respond smoothly instead of overreacting. Without enough potassium, the body naturally leans toward tightness by default. That explains why seniors can feel tense inside even when they are resting. Exactly. When potassium levels improve, both systolic and diastolic pressure can respond together, because resistance inside the vessels decreases. The heart no longer has to push against constant tension. Circulation becomes smoother, and readings begin to feel steadier rather than unpredictable. That kind of steadiness is what most seniors tell me they are really hoping for. And there is one thing that often surprises seniors. Potassium deficiency is extremely common because snort's stress hormones deplete it, refined foods dilute it, and aging kidneys recycle it more slowly. Many seniors lose potassium quietly over time without ever being told. That makes this feel far less like a personal failure and much more like missing information. Right. Once potassium is restored, the body remembers how to regulate itself. Breathing techniques last longer, supportive drinks work more effectively, and movement improves flow more consistently. The natural next step is learning how seniors can rebuild potassium gently through everyday foods. That's exactly where my curiosity goes next. What foods help seniors restore potassium safely and sustainably without feeling overwhelmed? Start by keeping this simple, John. Seniors do not need pills or complicated formulas to restore potassium. The body responds best when potassium comes from whole foods that arrive gently and consistently. This is about nourishment, not correction. That immediately feels reassuring, especially for seniors who are already managing medications. It sounds like you are saying food does the signaling more naturally than supplements. Yes, and I hear that a lot in seniors. Supplements can help in certain cases, but food delivers potassium slowly alongside water, fiber, and other minerals that guide absorption. That steady delivery is what allows blood vessels to soften without shock or strain. That makes sense because it feels more sustainable day to day. The key here is volume without overwhelm. Leafy greens, avocados, squash, beans, and fruits like berries or citrus all contribute meaningfully when eaten regularly. Seniors do not need to hit a perfect number. A few servings spread across the day gently reminds the body how to relax. That approach feels far more realistic than chasing a target. Exactly. And consistency matters more than perfection. When potassium shows up daily, the nervous system settles, adrenaline eases, and vessels stop bracing by default. Over time, the body begins to trust that balance is available again. That sense of trust is something many seniors feel they have lost. And here is something important to pause on. Potassium does not work alone. There is a partner mineral that helps potassium move into cells and do its job properly. Without it, even good potassium intake can feel incomplete. I think everyone needs to hear this. What is that partner mineral, doctor, and how do seniors support it naturally? Everyone should hear this indeed. That partner mineral is magnesium. Magnesium helps potassium move into the cells where it belongs and allows blood vessels to relax instead of staying guarded. Without enough magnesium, potassium cannot fully deliver its calming message. That feels like an important missing link, especially since seniors hear far less about magnesium than calcium. Yes, and I hear that often in seniors. Magnesium works quietly behind the scenes, supporting nerves, muscles, and the rhythm of the vessels themselves. When magnesium is low, vessels resist relaxing even if potassium intake improves. That explains why some seniors feel they are doing the right things but still not seeing steadier readings. It sounds like magnesium makes potassium usable, not just present. Exactly. Magnesium acts like the door that potassium walks through. Seeds, beans, and legumes provide magnesium in a gentle food-based way that the body recognizes. These foods do not replace potassium, but they help it settle into the tissues where balance is restored. That makes this feel more approachable and less like chasing another supplement. Seniors often worry about adding too many pills. That concern is wise. Foods like pumpkin seeds, sesame, lentils, and beans offer magnesium alongside fiber and protein, which slows absorption and prevents sudden shifts. This steadiness helps calm the nervous system over time, rather than forcing quick changes. It is another way the body learns to trust safety again. That idea of trust feels especially meaningful for seniors who feel their bodies have become unpredictable. It also makes the process feel less intimidating. Yes. And there is one more thing everyone needs to reflect on. Even with potassium and magnesium in place, I noticed that many seniors still reach for supplements first because they seem easier. But pills rarely send the same signal to the body as food does. I can imagine because supplements are often presented as the fastest solution. So before we close off, I have one more question that everyone needs to hear. Why do pills fall short for so many seniors, and what should they understand before relying on them? Everyone needs to start by understanding how supplements are designed. Potassium pills are intentionally kept very low in dose because concentrated potassium can be risky when taken all at once. That means most tablets deliver only a fraction of what the body actually uses in a day. Seniors can take them faithfully and still never reach a meaningful signal. That explains why so many seniors say they tried supplements and felt no real change. It can feel discouraging when effort does not lead to results. Yes, and there is another layer. Food sends information, not just minerals. When potassium comes with water, fiber, and natural sugars, the body recognizes it as nourishment and opens the pathways for relaxation. A pill arrives alone without context, and the body handles it cautiously. That distinction between nourishment and correction feels important for seniors to hear. Of course, this is also where kidney safety deserves calm clarity. For seniors with a healthy or mildly reduced kidney function, potassium from food is generally safe and protective. only advanced kidney disease requires close medical guidance, and fear should never replace understanding. That reassurance alone will help many seniors breathe easier, and here is where everything begins to connect. John, when minerals are balanced, the tools seniors already use finally start to work the way they were meant to. It sounds like earlier strategies were missing a foundation. How does this mineral balance change the everything we discussed in previous episode? The breathing, drinks, and movement that affect blood pressure. Well, this is where many seniors suddenly recognize their own story. Breathing techniques calm the nervous system, but without minerals, the calm does not last. Supportive drinks help hydration, but snorts. Without potassium and magnesium, the chemistry stays incomplete. Movement improves circulation, but vessels still resist if they lack the signal to soften. That really connects because we have talked about breathing, drinks, and circulation separately. It sounds like they were never meant to work alone. Exactly. Think of those practices as invitations. Breathing invites calm. Drinks invite balance, and movement invites flow. But minerals are what allow the body to accept the invitation instead of pushing back. That makes the earlier episodes feel like pieces of a larger puzzle. Yes, and seniors often blame themselves when those tools help only briefly. In truth, the body was missing the foundation it needs to respond fully. When potassium and magnesium are restored, those same habits suddenly feel more effective and more stable. That explains why some seniors feel temporary relief, but no lasting change. And this is the moment when everything clicks, John. The body was never broken. It was waiting for the conditions it needed to regulate itself again. Beautiful. I have one question for everyone still listening. No, actually, it is a favor. Please like this video. But more importantly, leave a comment. The more engagement we get, the more people like yourself we can reach. You not only help us, but also other seniors. Oh, and watch this next video right now. Yes, please. We've picked this one especially for you.